life in general. I think right as of now, people are just choosing their peace over just the everyday nonsense, the everyday turmoil, the everyday, you know, external factors that could just be disturbing your peace. And, you know, a lot of people mean well in your life, and then, they very well say that they want to make changes and they definitely want to be a better person, but they're always kind of falling short, right? They're just falling short, and it gets to a point where you don't necessarily feel that they may be on that path to getting better, right? And you just choose peace. And essentially you start to set boundaries. And this can probably go for like regular, like interpersonal relationships. This can go with work relationships. This can go with any type of relationship that you may have with somebody. But a lot of times you just really want to choose peace, right? Get myself together. But a lot of times you just want to choose peace, right? And you know, sometimes you may just be sitting there just stressing over things that are in your control or maybe out of your control. Everybody's wired differently, but at the end of the day, you definitely want your peace. You know, I think that's why a lot of people just be alone because they want peace. Sometimes you've been through so much where you feel like, it's not worth entertaining certain situations and in relationships. You just want peace. You just want, your mental just to be intact and functioning at a level where you're okay and you can kind of deal with things, right? Because, in this day and age, it's just so many things that kind of could, kind of throw you off, man, from everything from like, you know, the news, social media, people in your life, they very well could just be disturbing that. And then you kind of find yourself navigating, you know, out the way of whatever they may be bringing into your life, whether that's like personal problems, like, or situations where you've actually like, hey, like, if you keep on traveling on this particular path, what I'm saying, this is going to happen. It's going to be the end result. And then once then, lo and behold, they actually like been down the path that you warned them not to go down, and then they back again, like, like, I know you told me and this, that, and the other. I'm just wondering if you can help me with this and help me with that. And it's like, at this point, it's like you kind of like, I'm hands off because I said my piece beforehand, and then you just kept on doing what you wanted to do, and you in the predicament that you're in. And so that's why a lot of people are just choosing peace. And I think in this day and age, to conserve your youth, conserve your mental bandwidth, you just gotta choose peace. And sometimes, just not with relationships and situations. Sometimes you gotta choose peace within yourself, because a lot of times we are fighting these internal battles. Some of us are overthinkers. So some of us are highly anxious. Some of us are the type that may beat themselves up because you know you couldn't necessarily help somebody. You genuinely wanted to help. And you was like, man, you just wasn't there for them, or you just couldn't. And some people do beat themselves up, and it is strange because You know, you know, it's almost like you more or less want to be a people pleaser, but in that same token, you know, you're just out of your control and you just couldn't do it. You know, people think like this, you know, and I hope that I kind of touched on like one of these attributes in everything I said in this video, and I hope you kind of resonated with this, and I hope that you kind of choose peace over turmoil, over bad relationships, over situationships, and everything I just mentioned, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, we only got one life we live as far as we know, and you want to try to live this life, you know, as peaceful as you possibly can. All right, y'all. I really appreciate y'all listening to what I got to say. And this resonated with you, you know, like it. You know, if you're not, you know, kind of sure like you want to subscribe, that's okay. I appreciate the view. But, you know, if somebody was talking about this, share this video with them. Okay. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.